MontanaSports.com. This is MTN Sports Extra.
Hello everyone, and welcome again to this week's Friday Night Sports Extra. We have another full schedule of high school football games coming to you right now thanks to our partners from across the Montana Television Network as the third week of the high school football season is finally underway.
I'm Sean Wells in Kalispell at Legend Stadium for a Friday Night Lights matchup between the Glacier Wolfpack and the Big Sky Eagles. Let's get to the action. Jake Rendina impressed on the ground all night for the Wolfpack, including on this opening drive for a nice gain up the middle of the field. Rendina would cap off the drive with a 1-yard touchdown run, putting the Wolfpack up 7-0 early in the first quarter. This nice throw by Glacier QB Gage Slider to wide receiver Connor Sullivan would put the Wolfpack right back near the end zone, ready to strike again. Rendina would carry it home for his second touchdown of the game. Big Sky quarterback Caleb Wren would show off his arm here with a nice deep ball to Trey Sandberg. But after a Big Sky touchdown, Glacier's Jake Turner would take this kickoff 98 yards to the house, putting Glacier up 21-7.
98 yards for Jake Turner.
Glacier would cap a big scoring first half with this impressive pick six. Here's a look at tonight's final score. Glacier will be back on the road next Friday taking on Sentinel, while Big Sky travels to Helena to take on Capital. In Kalispell, Sean Wells, MTN Sports.
We have a Battle of the Bronx on our hands this Friday night. The 2-0 Hamilton Bronx are on the road to take on the 1-1 Frenchtown Bronx in a battle of Southwest A teams that both made the Class A playoffs a season ago. We'll jump to the second quarter. Hamilton already leading 7-0, and Tyson Rostad airs it out to Eli Taylor for a 24-yard score. Bronx up 14-0. But on the next drive, it's a big strike for Frenchtown. Eli Quinn hits Sully Belcourt down the middle of the field as he breaks a tackle and he does the rest. 79 yards to the house. PAT is missed, and it's 14-6. Hamilton still with the lead. But it didn't take long for Hamilton to respond with a big play of their own. Rostad hands it off to Tim Zoner, and he does the rest. Goes right up the middle, sprints past the defense, 80 yards, and it's a touchdown. Hamilton leads 21-6. Hamilton blew the game open to a 37-6 lead, but Frenchtown didn't go away easily. Here's Carter White fielding the kickoff, and just like that, 97 yards, he's gone. And on the next drive, Garrett Schmill takes a pick six back to the house, but in the end, Hamilton gets it done. Here's a look at your final score between these two. Hamilton takes on Butte Central next week. Meanwhile, Frenchtown will battle Corvallis. In Frenchtown, Kyle Hansen, MTN Sports.
Big Fork isn't letting their shutout win against Cupcake inflate their egos after winning 27-0. Coach Jim Benn said they're staying conscious of their X's and O's tonight against Conrad and staying dedicated to their ground game. Last season, Big Fork and Conrad also met for week 2 of the season, except this time we are in Big Fork. In the first half, Big Fork had 295 yards to Conrad's 53 yards. Quarterback Patrick Wallen, he did not hold back in the first half. He was 6 for 11 with 184 yards passing and threw for 3 touchdowns just in the first half. Big Fork stayed dominant, having over 100 yards rushing. And defense is what Coach Jim Benn said they had to bring tonight, and that they did. Levi Taylor had 3 solo tackles. Big Fork caused 2 turnovers, a fumble, and an interception just in the first half. Conrad got on the board late with a 10-yard run by Brinkley Evans. Here's a look at your final score. Next week, Big Fork will be taking on Jefferson in Big Fork, and Conrad will be taking on Loyola Sacred Heart in Conrad. Reporting in Big Fork, Alexis Belcastro, MTN Sports.
Performing here at Fairfield High School with 2 of the top 5 ranked teams in Class B squaring off tonight with the visiting Eureka Lions, who were the 2019 state champs against last year's second place finish in the state championship game. Let's get to the first half highlights, see how it all shook out.
In the first quarter on the kickoff, Brian Moore takes it to the house as he finds the far sideline and beats the last defender as they would go up 6-3 as they respond after going down 0-3 to start the game. Beginning of the second quarter, Lions block a punt, which will give them excellent field position. A few plays later, Caleb Utter with the QB sneak puts them on top 9-6. Eagles get the ball back and immediately strike back with running back Miguel Perez being an absolute unit, breaking through the front line for a 30-yard score. They didn't convert on the two-point conversion, so it's 12-9 Eagles now halfway through the second. Unforced fumble puts Eagles in good field position as the first play after the turnover. Miguel Perez on the pitch out wide takes it for another huge run as he gets into the end zone untouched. Eagles lead at half, 18-9. And here is your final in Fairfield. For MTN Sports, I'm Dylan Foreman.
Download our free app and take MTN Sports with you. Just search Montana Sports in the App Store or Google Play. We're back with more MTN Sports Extra.
We've got two great games in the mining city this evening as both the Butte High Bulldogs and Butte Central Maroons are at home and coming off wins last week. The Bulldogs are kicking off Western AA play against Helena, while the Maroons are hosting Whitefish. Both teams are looking to open up winning streaks, so let's get to those highlights. The Bulldogs looking to defend their home field for the second week in a row. The Bengals trying to open conference play with the win and move to 3-0 overall. Well, the smoke may have cleared, but early on in the game, an absolute downpour drenches Naranchi. And not much happening for either team in that monsoon, so let's jump to the second quarter. Jay Stenson drops back, plenty of time, and he hits Dylan Snyder in stride over the middle, and the senior goes gunning for the pylon, and gets it. Casey Houtzman's kick is good. Bulldogs up 7-0 early in the second. Butte's defense tenacious in this one. They keep Caden Hewitt under duress for much of the game, swallow him up here, and force yet another Bengals punt. And now the Bulldogs are looking to break away. Stenson airs it out, and he connects again with Snyder for the big gain to put his team deep in Helena territory. And Butte will capitalize. Stenson drops back, fires, and that's junior tight end Jonas Sherman with a touchdown catch to put the Bulldogs up 14-0. Butte too much in this one. They go up 27-0 before Helena responds late in the third quarter and makes a strong comeback attempt, but the Bulldogs will hold on for the 34-20 win. Now over to Butte Central and Whitefish. Second quarter, Bulldogs up 7-0, and Luke Garrison with the nice counterplay to put the Maroons inside the Whitefish 5. But the Bulldog defense is about to make a play. Easton Lackala on the toss play goes for the stiff arm but gets stripped by Carson High, and it's recovered by Cody Berry to snuff out that Maroons drive. Now how about a circus catch? Finn Ridgway airs it out. It's tipped, but Jackson Schlouch somehow snags it as it's coming down. Whitefish rolls to the win in this one 30-0 and moves to 3-0. In Butte, Luke Shelton, MTN Sports.
Boy, do we have a game here for you tonight. We have the number 5 ranked team, the 2-0 Gallatin Raptors, taking on the number 2 ranked team, Billings West Golden Bears. Are the Gallatin Raptors for real? Well, we're about to find out. West on their first drive, fourth down, fumbles the punt. Gallatin has good field position but does nothing with it. Middle of the first quarter, and the Golden Bears strike first as quarterback Isaiah Clonch throws a dime to his receiver Riley Burgesson, who makes the over-the-shoulder grab, breaks the tackle, and takes this one for a 76-yard touchdown. 7-0 West after the extra point. Just seconds into the second quarter, West with the ball near the red zone, and running back Michael DeLeon takes this one for a 17-yard rushing touchdown. 14-0 Golden Bears. Just a little over 2 minutes later, it's DeLeon again. He takes the handoff from Clonch right up the middle, and he's got wide open spaces, and the defender is too late to prevent the touchdown. That's from 46 yards out, 21-0 Golden Bears. They roll from there. Here is your final score. In Bozeman, John Miller, MTN Sports.
There's more action on the way when MTN Sports Extra continues after this.
MTN Grizz Central is sponsored by Bob Wards.
While high school football gets a lot of the attention on Friday nights, tomorrow all of that attention will be shifted that direction towards Missoula at Washington Grizzly Stadium when the Montana Grizzlies welcome Western Illinois for their home opener. Montana is coming off of that historic win over the University of Washington, but right now it's about putting that victory in the rearview mirror as the Grizzlies get set to welcome the Leathernecks.
It had been a long time coming for Montana to play a game in the fall, and even though the Grizzlies shocked the college football world, there was no doubt in their locker room heading into Washington.
It's great to go get that win, and I don't think we had doubt Before that game, we played pretty well this spring, and 2019 season was good, but I didn't think there were doubters going into the game. There certainly isn't now.
That was definitely one of the coolest experiences of my life, winning that game and seeing the Grizz in the media all weekend long. It's cool. It's good for the Grizz to be back like that.
Even as the game wore on, UM's players said they saw their physicality begin to wear the Huskies down.
We definitely noticed it, and that comes from being physical at practice. You can't just be physical for half the practice. The coaches will notice and they'll call that out. So practicing hard and being physical all of practice is really what we take pride in, and that helped us. Fourth quarter, we know how to finish, and we can see when other teams, start to get on their heels, and that's when we really start to attack.
That confidence will carry into this week. Montana gets set for its home opener on Saturday. While the Grizzlies were firing on all cylinders against Washington on the defensive side of the ball, head coach Bobby Hauck said there are still areas his team can improve as they refocus their attention to the opponent ahead.
We're into the season. We've got a ton of things we need to work on. We've got to be more consistent on offense. Got to be better in third down. We got to finish drives in the end zone. Got to tighten our man coverage down. We left some yards out there in the kicking game and in the return game. So we have to do and have to do better, and that's what this week's going to be about.
These two teams clashed in 2018 when Hauck returned to Montana, with the Leathernecks winning a close 31-27 contest in Illinois. The Grizzlies hope to rectify that result from 3 years ago in front of a packed home stadium, something that hasn't happened since December of 2019.
I'm super excited. I can't wait to see Wild Grizz going crazy at 6 o'clock kickoff. Fans got enough time to warm up for that one, so it should be crazy coming out of that tunnel.
Yeah, I seriously can't wait. Just get chills thinking about it. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rocking. We're ready to go. Ready to give them a show.
After more than 600 days without football inside Bobcat Stadium, Montana State can finally say we're back. The Cats return to action this Saturday for a sold-out Gold Rush game, and the anticipation is so tangible you can feel it.
Gold Rush is already an exciting game, but because of our circumstance of not playing since 2019 in December, I think everyone is really, really excited for what's going to happen on Gold Rush.
Excitement is brewing within the program as 64 Bobcats prepare to suit up for the first time in front of a home crowd. The anticipation can be felt in the coaching staff as well. However, they're trying to control that eagerness as they look back at their narrow loss at Wyoming.
Once we broke the film down, we left a lot of plays out there, and we beat ourselves, simple as that. So just try to eliminate a lot of those little errors and just be able to go out there on Saturday and just execute a full offensive game plan.
One play in particular came on the final drive of the game. With just seconds left on the clock, running back Isaiah Afonso dove for a first down instead of running out of bounds to stop the clock. However, the ref said he came up short, which ended the game.
He risked the time of the game there. I think if he had to do it again, he would just gone out of bounds. That's got to be a learning lesson.
I look back on film, and I know I made a mistake. I should have went out of bounds, got my team an extra play to get an extra shot, but you just learn from those mistakes and then make sure to not make the same one next week.
And as Vegan said in Monday's presser, discipline is key as the Bobcats prepare for the Drake Bulldogs, who opened their season in dominant fashion with a 45-3 win over West Virginia Wesleyan.
Offensively, I think we feel like their quarterback can make some plays. He's a guy that can get out of pocket and create some problems. Running back wise, two guys that put up some good yards. Defensively, they return a bunch of guys, in particular from the spring that played well up front, and they play sound. So I think for us, we can't get in our own way. We did that a little bit too much, I think, on Saturday.
The Bobcats will be without defensive tackle Kyle Rigg this Saturday after suffering a lower body injury against Wyoming, which promotes Blake Heel to starter. And for the second week in a row, wide receiver Nate Stewart and cornerback Tyrell Thomas were left off the depth chart.
We're on a Gold Rush now and excited about the opportunity in front of us.
Gold Rush is set to kick off this Saturday at 6 p.m. Make sure to visit us at montanasports.com for highlights and more. In Bozeman, Ashley Washburn, MTN Sports.
There's more action online at montanasports.com.
Three touchdowns, 148 yards on 29 attempts. That was the stat line for redshirt freshman running back Duncan Kraft for Carroll College on Saturday in their rivalry game against Montana Tech. Head coach Troy Purcell said following the game, it was a welcome sight to see.
Duncan had a great day, man. They do talk about a class kid all the way around, C4 mentality, good character, does things right, yes sir, no sir, and he runs hard. He's very, very good runner. You know, plays over his pads well. He's really starting to develop as a receiver too out of the backfield. But you know, it's play your best when your best is needed. And big players playing big games. You know, we lost Burgess, and it was a sad day when we lost him. And these other guys need to respond. And it was proven today by Duncan.
Across 3 games in the Carroll College spring season, Kraft recorded 205 yards and 2 touchdowns with just 15 attempts. But in Saturday's hard-hitting rivalry matchup against Montana, Kraft said it was the 5 guys up front who were to thank for his success.
I got to give most of the credit to the O-line. They made my job really easy today. Blessed with 5 guys up front who can block really well, and some tight ends who lead block for me too. So got to give the credit to them for sure.
Kraft, a Billings native, said after the game that it was also the first time since high school where he'd been able to find the end zone 3 times in just 1 game. Carroll Athletics said in a text conversation with MTN Sports they could not comment on the status of Matthew Burgess, but it appears as if the Fighting Saints game is in capable hands. Reporting in Helena, Sam Hoyle, MTN Sports.
There's more action on the way when MTN Sports Extra continues after this. We're back with more MTN Sports Extra.
Hi everybody, Scott Breen here. More and more we see some of the world's most successful and accomplished athletes openly revealing struggles with mental health issues. Biles at the recent Olympics, Naomi Osaka, one of the world's greatest tennis players, NBA, WNBA, and NFL. Take your pick. Truth is, it's a very real issue right here at our own grassroots level and in our own schools.
Some are more hesitant to seek help. There's something there. There's definitely stigma.
Danny Dessen grew up not far from Rocky Mountain College, actively involved in sports. Now he has a master's degree in sports psychology and he's tracking a doctorate.
Mental toughness in describing athletes for a long time without much explanation on how they develop the mental toughness. It doesn't happen because they're zapped with the right genetics all the time. There's people working with them in the background, and it is definitely the background.
In short, we all struggle at times. We just don't necessarily show it to the world or even to our closest friends or parents. Might be the nervous depression of a new school year or the anxiety of a fresh sports season among middle and high school kids. This is a recent Saturday morning in Laurel with several hundred turning out in support of Sam's Run. Sam Melling was an 8th grader who loved running cross country before taking his own life 6 years ago this November. His cross country teammates asked then to honor him with a memorial run. His family, humbled, collaborated to turn that idea into an awareness run.
The average onset is 14 years old for a mental health condition. So those are our kids. Those are those kids in school and in high school.
Sam's Run is part of an outreach compelling kids, friends, and parents to notice different triggers for slumping mental health.
That's what we saw with he had a couple of concussions just back to back, and then his personality changed, and that was right before he died.
Natural anxiety and depression, even without concussions, are hard to spot in young people. And the more physical the sport, like football, the easier it is to often overlook. A message not lost on coaches.
Mental health is kind of that silent that people do a really good job of making sure that everybody knows that they're okay when really they're not okay.
I gave a stat that said almost 15% of kids in 7th grade attempted suicide in 2019 in Montana. Those are staggering numbers to me.
There's ups and downs. We've got injuries and kids aren't playing as much as they want to, and we lose football games. It's all about trying to find a way to motivate and lift people up when they're not feeling very good.
The anxiety of performance and having different people in the stands, the triggers are different for every single athlete.
Because things like starting back to school and some of those other triggers can really exacerbate some of those illnesses.
It exists, it's just whether we can translate that into working with 10-year-old kids all the way up to, the college athletes back here.
It's no secret that today's social media, sports-related or not, intensifies expectations and anxiety for kids trying to perform or even just fit in.
And then they watch the responses and the expectations of people that are not involved in what they do, and that's difficult for them. Staying away to whatever degree you can would be my advice.
And one of Dessen's strongest tips is also one of his simplest. Sort out thoughts in a 25-cent journal.
Thoughts being put on paper, it's a good way to process things. Thoughts floating around in our head, we generally pick up on the negative stuff and we dwell on it.
And I've shared information on how to get in touch with Danny Dessen in our story at montanasports.com, along with multiple crisis hotline numbers for those in need of help. Scott Breen, MTN Sports.
Follow Montana Sports on Facebook and join the conversation with fans across the state. We're back with more MTN Sports Extra.
Thanks for tuning into this week's Sports Extra, and for even more Sports Extra, head over to the KPAX streaming app. If you missed any of the highlights from tonight, head over to the app to get those, as well as bonus coverage from the MTN stations across the entire state. It begins at 11:10 p.m. and runs through the night into Saturday morning, only on the KPAX streaming app for Roku and other devices. Thanks again for tuning into this week's Sports Extra. Have a great weekend, everyone.